As promised, we are back on the chosen baseball journey. And after last week discussing the All-Star game, Kareem Garcia and I are very, very excited because all the baseball world ever wants to talk about is Paul Skenes. Paul, Skenes all day long. So, Kareem, I'm just going to jump right into it. And I got a bunch of questions for you. So, first and foremost, I'm not going to tell you where I'm at with this yet. I'm dying to hear your opinion. Were you surprised that Paul Skenes was named the starting pitcher for the All-Star team, considering he started the year in the minors? And did you think he deserved it?
I wasn't surprised that they started him, the All-Star game because it's a hot topic right now, and Major League is all about that. The guys that they're right now on the center of everything, like the Judge, like the Sotos, like the Otanis, those type of guys, they're always gonna mention them and they're gonna put them on the spot. Did he deserves it? Probably not, because he didn't start the year in the major leagues. And like I mentioned you in April, we were talking about it. These guys, they didn't rush him. They bring him, they let him start in the minor leagues, get his feet wet over there, get his 4 or 5 starts. And when they thought that he was ready, they bring it back up. And now he's 6-0 or 7-0 in the major leagues right now with a 2 point something ERA, which is great. But I don't think he deserved to start the game, to me. Why? Because he didn't put out the same, or he doesn't have the same time in his pitch or wins or losses with like the other guys.
Well, I gotta tell you, I'm very, very happy with Paul Skeens on both of my fantasy teams, by the way. Thank you, waiver wire. Um, I was able to find enough time to get him right as he had two more starts left in the minors, and people were not very patient because we don't have a lot of bench spots, and it's been very, very good for me. Silly question for you as I think about this. First of all, so All-Star game is done, came and went, right?
Mhm.
What happens to the stats from middle of July until October plus the playoffs? Do those should they get measured in the All-Star game at all in calculating who to bring about? Because in reality, what it seems to me like, Kareem, all everybody cares about is April till mid-July. You're talking about there a very short window of 3.5 months, and that's how you determine an all-star. Whereas in reality, then all those people with those big second halves, they're not really getting measured into the equation. That doesn't seem right to me.
It doesn't seem fair at all, but that's how they have done it for over 100 years. And the thing is that if you put out the stats for the whole year for the guys, there wouldn't be the midsummer event. It will be the winter event. And nobody wants to play an all-star game after the season is over. Like the NFL, those guys go over there because they have to go. But did they really play? No, no, they don't do anything. They try to just have fun with each other and don't get injured. And that's what happens if you change the midsummer event, which is the All-Star, to the end of the year. Yeah, you will bring some other guys that at the end of the year want to have 35, 40 home runs, 100 RBIs, 120 RBIs, hit 240, 250, 260, maybe even 300. But it wouldn't be fair for the guys that they actually play the first half of the year that help their teams to make it to where they are right now. It's not easy for anyone, but that's the way that has been done for over a lot of years, decades. So I don't have a problem whatsoever, being the All-Star game. Yes, the stats count for the second half of the season, but right now the most important thing for most of the teams that are in contention is not thinking about their guys putting the numbers. You know what it is? Is thinking about who they're going to bring to their team to help them to the playoff. Because here comes the other part of the season where you can trade the trade deadline, which is what they're looking for now.
So let me ask you this. Who do you think selected Paul Skeens to start the All-Star game?
There had to be Robert Manfred, the MLB executive.
Bingo was his name. Oh, it. Torey Lavello, because he's a rookie manager for an All-Star game, he was very, very enlightening on MLB radio. And one of the things that Mr. Lavello shared with us was Nothing got done without deep consultations with MLB and where MLB preferences were. He gave heavy consideration to it. And MLB made it very clear to Mr. Lavello that Paul Skenes starting the All-Star game is very, very good for baseball. And let's be honest, how many more eyeballs for kids between the ages of 12 and 22 want to turn in now and watch All-Star game because Paul Skenes is starting it? It's like the newest Jordan 1 just got launched in the shoe store. The latest t-shirt is out. The latest rapper dropped his album. It's, Paul Skenes is so with his girlfriend and has become such a social media phenomenon. Like MLB comes to Lavello and says, look, you start Paul Skenes. We know how many eyeballs are going to tune in from the beginning now to watch the game, and we may be able to keep them. You put in Skenes in the second, third, fifth inning. We never got those eyeballs to start with. They're not going to turn in to go watch him. So I will say on this, on the one hand, I think it's a big slap in the face to the veteran pitchers, the Max Frieds of this world, the Wheelers, where these guys have persevered and, they've earned in their stripes. I think that's a big honor for that. So in my heart, I think the veteran type pitcher, like I think Fried should have started it if you're going to go that route. But for the good of the game, to grow the game, to get the young viewers in, to get the attention, aside from Otani, I don't know if there is a bigger star or there will be a bigger star for a long time than Paul Skenes.
No, he's doing everything right. He has the perfect wife or girlfriend, Olivia Dunn. And, they go to the red carpet and they're looking sharp and they're just answering the questions the right way. Now, to me, like you mentioned, the manager, rookie manager, the Major League Baseball tell him, this is be great if you put him to start the game. But would you tell that to Joe Torre?
Maybe
Would maybe.
you hint
And
at
Joe
it.
Torre would have done whatever he wants, no matter what.
If I was
He would have picked
Manfred,
whoever.
if I was Manfred with Joe Torre, I come and I say, Joe, where are you leaning with this? What do you think, Joe? And let's hope that Joe will make the right decision. If Joe doesn't, saying, no, Joe, I hear you, but those sponsors really want to see Skenes. You don't only one inning, Joe, but really would be good for us, Joe. Like it's kind of I feel like Rob Manfred coming to Torey Lavello is like the Godfather coming to you and saying, you remember when I did a favor for you? Well, I'm calling in that favor now. Like
Yeah,
Rob Manfred is the godfather for the MLB. But whether you agree or disagree that Paul Skenes should have started it, very humble kid, very talented. The numbers are off the charts. If I'm going to tell you who's the most interesting person that I wanted to watch in that game, it was definitely Paul Skenes.
absolutely. Everyone. I wanted to. I started half an hour early to have my food, everything ready, just to watch him the first pitch. If I was a betting man, I would have said that his first pitch was going to be over 100 miles per hour. It was 98. I missed it by 2 miles, but hey, because I would have thought he was so pumped. He was just going to let one go over there and throw as hard as he could. But I mean, he did a great job, except for the walk. Everything else, it was a perfect inning.
Kareem Garcia in his prime has the chance to go pinch hit in a game and face Paul Skenes and what he's doing right now. Would you want to face him or would you tell the manager, I tweaked my groin. I'll sit this one out?
Hell yeah, I want to face him. Hell yeah, I'm sitting dead right over there on that fastball. Believe me, I'm going to take the hardest swing that I can, try to hit as far as I can. Believe me, I'll take two good swings, and after that, I'm going to choke mode, try just to make contact, because with two strikes with that guy, with the sweeper and all the other pitchers that he has, it's almost impossible with two strikes to actually get a hit.
Would you rather face Paul Skenes today or Aroldis Chapman in his prime when he first came up with the Reds?
Ooh, no, I take Skenes. He's a righty. He's a lefty.
What is it about facing lefty pitchers that it just always feels like they never have 100% control of what they're doing out there?
Unfortunately, lefty on lefty, they had the tendency that when they try to throw a fastball inside, they leave the arm a little up, and they're always coming up at your face. I was a very good hitter against left. Actually, my batting average was better against lefties and righties because they made me stay inside the ball a little more, concentrate more than the right-handers. But yes, I mean, you get the scary guys when Billy Wagner threw a fastball inside of you and at 100 miles per hour, up and in on your eyes, and you're just barely moving out of the way. It doesn't feel very good. But at that time, because of the adrenaline and everything else that was going with me, I'm talking about myself, I will get pissed. If somebody throw up and in on me, I will get upset right away. And I will try to crush them. So, I mean, that was just me, the adrenaline, the hits. And some leftists, when they come and sign on them, they're afraid because they're probably being hit on the face or something like that. I was the other way.
Did you ever face John Rocker?
No, I played with him,
I
but
know
I
you
never
played with
faced
him,
him.
but you never faced him.
No,
I
I wouldn't mind
imagine,
him actually. I wouldn't mind him that the whole antics that he did. I wouldn't mind him at all.
look, when he was in his prime, he was pretty locked down. He would have been an interesting guy to face. So I got to ask you, Paul Skenes, watching what you've watched so far, knowing what you know, if you were a scout right now for a team, is this guy for real?
Oh, absolutely. He is definitely for real. The one thing that I've been watching him in the last few stars that I've had the opportunity to see him is the way that he prepared himself for the game. The little thing that has the weight thing on his shoulders and he's moving over there to get loose his back, his shoulders, throwing the football, getting the without laces, just trying to work on his wrist. I'm imagining and his shoulder. All these little routines, throwing the ball behind him all the time, stuff like that. This guy is gonna be the next, like you mentioned it the last time, the next Roger Clemens probably on longevity. He's gonna play for a long time, hopefully 20 years. Now the thing is, would Pittsburgh sign him right away or no? They have him in control for the next 5 years.
I'll tell you this, if he'll take right now Churios's contract, 8 years, 80 million, right now, he's not taking it. He's not taking it. There's no chance he's taking it. There's no
That he's
way.
smart enough. He already signed a deal for $9 million for his first contract. So they have to be on the hundreds.
Easy, easy.
Yeah.
So back with the scouting hats. You got your scouting hat on,
Yeah.
and team owner comes to you and says to you, who do you think this guy is most like if you had to compare him from back in the day? The three names I have in my head, I want to know if you have someone different. The three guys I'm going to throw out: Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens, Dwight Gooden. Who does he most remind you of from those three guys? Am I even close?
I will think out of those three guys, Nolan Ryan for sure. He throws the big, a strong fastball like Nolan Ryan, and he doesn't have the curveball that Nolan Ryan had, but he has the sweeper, and he has the other one, which is a
Splinker.
sinker, the splinter. Because yeah, this is split with a sinker. I mean, when you're that good, you can name your own pitches.
But you would put Nolan Ryan from the three. If you had to
Yeah.
think of, from your career pitchers you played with or you faced, any other names come to mind? Who does he most remind you of?
Well, with that talent, with that velocity, I mean, I think you hit it right on the spot. But Pedro Martinez had to be up there too, because he was that good. Um, think of, Maddox never had the velocity that he had. I mean, he has the control more than anything else. So Glavine, Smoltz, none of those guys that were the big trio with Atlanta back in those days in the 90s, going to the World Series. No, it's only like you mentioned, only a few guys that you can actually compare him. Maybe a Bob Feller from the Cleveland Indians back in those days.
There's some big, big names. So I'm gonna ask you, Kareem, and please don't hate me, Pirates fans, because I love you and I love your stadium and I love your city and your sandwiches. But a couple guys coming to my mind that we have had these conversations before in the past. You remember a guy by the name of Todd Van Poppel and Ben McDonald?
Yes, both of them.
I did not go to their Cooperstown induction ceremonies. Did you?
No.
And do you know why? Because they
Well,
did.
they,
Because they did not. Because for every Nolan Ryan, you'll have what, 10,000 Todd Van Poppels out there?
Yeah,
First round draft pick, cannot miss. Texas boy, big strapping, looks like, throws like, is Nolan Ryan. So why is it that in our lifetime and maybe the rest of the universe, we may never see another Nolan Ryan?
because nowadays they don't make it like they used to. That's what they always say. Nolan Ryan will throw 160 pitches, and 3 days later will get the ball again and throw another 140. And his arm was never tired. It was always strong. It was always ready to go. Nowadays, you throw 100 pitches and they're taking you in the 16 and 17 inning and make sure you get your 4 days rest and all your vitamins and everything else to be ready for the next pitching, start for you. Now, another guy that you forget to mention that also is not in the Hall of Fame. What about Strasburg?
Oh, yes, who just recently retired because they had to come to a contract agreement between him and the Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I apologize because if you think about the guy who was the most can't miss guy of recent times that people were going bananas to watch, absolutely Steven Strasburg. And very good point. If I'm Paul Skenes, I'm probably going back and watching a lot of tape on Steven Strasburg and would call him up, call up his agent, and figure out what not to do because yeah, he got his ring and he's got his contract, but Strasburg did not finish the way we thought he was going to.
He was gonna. I thought he, for sure if he would have stayed healthy, he would have made it to the Hall of Fame because he had the arm, he got the velocity, the smarts, the grind. You know that guy was a competitor, but at the end of the day, all the injuries got him, and unfortunately, that's what happens.
Look, from the Guardians' perspective, if you look up bright and not bright things to do, if you're gonna give the money and you have to keep only one of them, I would have found a way to keep Harper long ago. I would always keep the hitter over the pitcher, knowing the risks of what could happen with his arm. When they signed Strasburg to that contract, I never thought that contract was going to end well. He already had enough injuries. It was more of a reward for winning the World Series if nothing else, which was interesting enough that they did it without Harper. But when you're a small market team with a small market budget, you can't miss on pitchers and giving long-term contracts to pitchers with arm issues, not usually a good recipe.
Not at all, but I mean, Washington had Soto and Harper. Imagine those two contracts with them. Unless you are in LA or New York, you probably won't be able to, or Boston, Massachusetts wouldn't be able to pay those guys.
Look, I with Soto at the time, they offered him a very, very healthy contract. The issue with the National is those deferred contracts because of their TV deals, and they keep giving out those weird deferred deals. But bottom line was, I think they could have offered Soto anything. He said, "I know my talent, I know my age, and it ain't happening." But funny enough, there's rumors going around that the one team who has the space to sign somebody to such a monster deal is Washington. I don't know about you. I don't see a world where he goes back to the Nationals and leaves the Yankees. No way. No
Not
way.
at all. No way, Jose. He tasted New York now, and he's been in California before. He's exactly. He's not going. He's not going anywhere. He might even change from the Bronx to the Mets, but that's about it because they had the money to pay him. Now the Mets are willing to pay that big of a contract, and if he's going to ask to sign some other pitchers to make a better team for the Mets, because I mean you want to play when you get that type of contracts, you want to be on the playoff all the time, and with the Yankees you're going to be able to do so. Now Giancarlo Stanton, his contract is almost done. You got 3 years left or whatever it is. Now you're going to be able to get Soto to a bigger contract, probably bigger than Aaron Judge. So all depends if the Yankees are willing to pay that much money for that type of talent.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. Money being equal, I know taxes and everything else, but if I'm a baseball player and I want my legacy, Kareem, the one thing and think about it, nobody could take away from you. You've worn those pinstripes. You know what
Mhm.
it's like to wear the pinstripes and play at Yankee Stadium and be in the playoffs with them. And if I'm Soto And I'm thinking about Cooperstown and my plaque one day and the legacy I want. And I think about Mantle and Ruth and Gehrig and all these good guys. I talked to Judge, and Judge's like, I stayed. Here's why I stayed. I think about Jeter. I'm staying in the Bronx, 1,000%. But then if I'm Skenes and I'm watching that, I'm thinking, man, I got this girlfriend, this gymnast, and I'm the hottest guy on social media. In 5, 6 years, me as a Yankee would look pretty good.
Or the Dodgers. It's in 6 years, they're getting rid of a lot of contracts.
That's true.
So in 6 years, is a lot of things can happen. You won't have the Giancarlo Stanton, you don't have the Gary Cole anymore. You won't have half of the team that is right now with the Yankees or with the Dodgers. So the market is going to be incredible for him when he comes as a free agent.
I see a world where Yamamoto is going back this year, and he's going to be pitching in the playoffs for them. I think that was pretty convenient that he had to go down and take a little bit of a siesta, as they do, much in the way that in Pittsburgh, Mr. Jared Jones, all of a sudden, I tweaked a little bit of this and that, and we got to shut him down for a little bit and start him up slowly. Kareem, with these pitchers and these injuries, not injuries, it sounds to me like a real fancy way of just keeping the innings down. What do you think?
Absolutely. That's what they call back in the days the phantom injury list, right? Because you don't have anything. They just need you to shut down for a little bit, and they call it inflammation in the shoulder, inflammation on the elbow, and we have to shut you down for 15 days. But basically, what they're trying to tell you is, you know what? You had enough right now. How about just take a little break? We're giving you a break as a team, you know, and just rest. Come after the All-Star game. You got 15 days plus the 4 days of the All-Star. You got 20 days, close to a month. You should be ready to go after that.
I remember watching a movie once upon a time. I can't remember which movie it was. The general manager came to the baseball manager in the movie and said to him, "This pitcher, I think he tweaked his hamstring. I think he needs to go on the injured list. I think he needs to rehab that hamstring. What do you think? Is that really
Yeah,
how it goes down?"
yeah, I seen it. I mean, it's called the phantom list, the phantom injury list, where you don't have anything, but the team goes like, you know what? You need to rest. You need 2 weeks off, and they'll put you over there, and they bring somebody for AAA for 1, 2 starts, and they bring you back up again. You never leave the team. You stay with the team the whole time. You do the workout. You just don't throw.
Now, what if I, as a player, say, "No, I'm not injured. I'm perfectly good to go. I think I'll call up my agent and we'll discuss this further." That player probably is not going to have a very long future on that team, is he?
Not at all. Not at all, because you're fighting the team. They're actually trying to help you in your career to get better. If they tell you it's for your own benefit, because they think you might, at the end of the year, help them more than through the middle of the season. Because the teams need you when? They need you in September. They don't need you in May or June or July. They need you in September. At the end of the year, when you actually making a run for the playoff or you are on the playoff, that's when they want you sharp, and that's why they give you those days off.
You've heard of many players in various sports where they're saying, well, the team wants me to have this one surgery. I'm going to go speak to my own specialist and I'm going to make my own plan. None of those players end up having a good relationship with those teams. It's a very bad route to go down, unfortunately. But sometimes look, you've had lawsuits. You've had players said you misdiagnosed me, and I shouldn't have had this surgery, or I should have had this surgery. It's a very touchy area these days.
Yeah, it's a lot of things in Major League that you cannot do, I mean, actually, in the teams, because they will hold a grudge for you. I went to arbitration and I beat the Detroit Tigers when I went to arbitration. And 2 months later, they trade me to Baltimore because I beat him in arbitration. They didn't tell me that, but I knew. And so it's little things like that. Like you say, hey, if they tell you to go down because you're hurt, you just take it like a man and say, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna go off for 15 days. I'm gonna be back. Whenever you told me. Because if not, like you mentioned it, you're not gonna last a long time in there.
How does it feel as a player going to arbitration and hearing the team say only bad things about you for an hour?
Oh, it's not fun at all whatsoever. It was hour and a half of pounding, going back and forth, back and forth. And the problem was that I was being traded from the Arizona Diamondbacks to the Detroit Tigers. So I only had 1 year with the team when I went to arbitration, but I mean, it wasn't fun at all. And all of a sudden we came out and General Meyer goes like, hey, this is not personal. This is just business. I said, no, I understand. I know how you feel now about me. Thank you. And that was it.
I feel like going to arbitration with a team is like when you break up with your girlfriend and she tells you, I want to sit down for an hour and discuss what went wrong in the relationship and I want closure. I have no interest in that sit down and I have no interest in the arbitration whatsoever. Like, if I was a player, I think I would take less money. I would do whatever it takes not to go to that process because I can't see how you look at the officials in a good light afterwards when they say so many bad things. You know, it's gotta be a hard like if you go through arbitration once, twice with the same team, I just can't see how a long-term deal is possible when you create such bad blood, you know?
Not at all. It's not fun. I don't think they're going to do that with Paul Skenes, believe me. They're not going to go to arbitration. They're going to probably try to get an agreement before they have to go there.
If I was the Pirates, I would call Paul Skenes' agent. The checkbook is here. The pen is good. We got lots of ink in the pen. We just need you to come down. Need you to write down the number. We'll sign it. Just got to find a way. There's just no doubt that this has got to happen. As this is gonna go along, Kareem, if they don't sign him immediately to a 3 5 year deal and he goes year to year, you know what? I feel for Pirates fans because unless you lock up him and you lock up Jones long term, if they can't lock this one down, at some point you're becoming a farm system for every other MLB team. You're either gonna be able to keep those stars or not. Like even the Brewers, for the amount of guys that they recycle. I mean, look at Corbin Burns starts the All Star game. They didn't keep him, right?
Yeah.
But you got to lock down these core once in a lifetime guys. Otherwise, there's no point in having an MLB team anymore. Then you become the Rockies and the A's, and it's just terrible to watch.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of problems for the people in Pittsburgh right now, especially for the general manager and the owners over there.
Yeah, but it's gotta be pretty exciting. From so like a guy like Skeens, when he walks in, I gotta ask you, like, so he walks into that locker room. Does he get the same rookie initiation and hazing as everybody else, all the other rookies, or does he get treated differently immediately because of who he is?
Nah, he's getting the same treatment as everybody else. Believe me. They did it to Otani in the Angels, and they do it to all the rookies. It doesn't really matter how good and talented you are, and you've proven it, but you're still a rookie. You're still gonna go through the whole process. You're gonna have to carry the bag for somebody else, for the older guy, or they're gonna tell you to bring some I don't know, soda or bubble gum or whatever they want, just to get in your skin. It's all it is. Just you're trying to test you to see how you are. And I'm sure this guy has a good head on his shoulder, and he won't put. I mean, he won't do nothing crazy.
Well, he's either gonna have to wear one of those costumes at the airport or wear
We
like the girly
all did it.
backpack with the bubble gum and carry that for people, or has that same girly backpack with the pop cans for the plane. Uh, MLB players are very immature, are they not?
Yes, yes. I had to wear a nice dress for the flight from where was it? It was in Dodger Stadium. No, it was in San Francisco to LA. They give me a nice dress with a belly shirt. Imagine that. That was my attire going back from San Francisco to LA.
And they picked the outfit for you. You didn't get to pick
Oh
it.
yes. You go to the stadium and you have your suit and your tie nice. And as the game is over, you come back to your locker. You had a complete different things. Like they put that for me and for all the rookies that were there. It was like 7 or 8 of us.
And they picked which one you wore specifically. Everybody got their own
Yes.
outfit.
Yes.
And you saw it, you knew right away what it was, I assume.
Yes. I had to, you have to do it. And you have to sign at least 10 autographs as you walk out.
Even better. What is what is the best rookie initiation you ever saw in clubhouses? What You don't have to tell me which team it was or what year it was, but what are some of the good ones you saw the rookies had to go through?
When back again with the Dodgers, we went to San Francisco and they have a statue of a horse, and we went over there and they tell us to paint him blue. So there's like 6 or 7 of us, went over there and we help each other to get on top to start, with the graffiti on the thing on the horse. And the guys called the police, and the police was with them. Of course, they knew the whole thing, and they start chasing us, and we were running away from it. And the next day, the police came to the clubhouse and looked for the guys that were doing the graffiti on the horse on the statue, and they put us in handcuffs and stuff like that. But it was just for the whole show, for everybody to have fun. I was scared. Don't get me wrong, because I didn't know I was 19.
Oh, so that was one of you. Oh, so you were one of the horse perpetrators.
Yeah,
Amazing, amazing. I assume that back in the New York days, they had some interesting things where they did it with the Yankees.
they did. They had some interesting outfits over there. Yeah, but nothing that crazy. Like there was more like different, more flashy type of deal things. You still gotta go take the pictures with the fans and sign the autograph. That's for them to have fun, but not as crazy as the other ones.
If you're a veteran player with the Pirates, you've been there for 5, 7 years, you've been in the league for 15 years, you walk in, you see the attention Paul Skenes is getting. Are most veterans happy to have him on the team, or they're saying, I don't need this guy and he's hogging all the attention? And well, how do people react to a Skenes, you think, in the locker room?
I mean, everybody's different. There's going to be some guys that are not going to like the way that he acts, the way that he's getting the attention right now, but it's just them. On the other side, this guy is good for baseball, good for your team, is making you better as a player, as a team. I don't see the jealousy, but unfortunately, it's a lot of guys that have big egos and they only care about themselves and getting all the attention for themselves. And yes, there probably will be 1 or 2 guys on the team because you cannot keep everyone happy. Unfortunately, it's 25 guys, 26 guys, and you're never going to have all the guys happy all the time. And I'm sure it is 1 or 2 guys over there don't like the attention that he's getting because he's a rookie. But again, it's not his fault.
And he seems to be pretty humble for who he is. Like he seems to be very level-headed, well brought up by his parents. And if there's one guy I've seen interviewed that can handle the attention, it seems to be him. Two guys who are very happy right now are Jones and Keller over in Pittsburgh because they're saying, look at this now. Now they're getting a lot more attention. And so people coming out more out to their starts. And, by osmosis, the other starting pitchers, the relievers, anybody who Skeens touches now, they get more attention also, it seems. So I think overall, I think for majority of people, they're saying, like we had 2 reporters in our clubhouse, now we have 50. This is amazing. It's
Yeah,
there are a lot of people going to get a lot more money in their contracts if they're playing along with this guy, in my opinion.
absolutely. Yeah. He's making you better, and the team is winning every time he goes out there. So he's putting people on the seats. That's what he's doing.
So as we end today's episode, I've asked you this kind of question before, and I'm going to ask you again. I'll always ask you this one. So you get a call on your cell tomorrow, and you're like, "Hello, who's this?" Oh, it's Paul Skeens. I got your number through a mutual friend, Kareem. I've been watching you on the Chosen Baseball journey, and I got to ask you, you're a very level-headed guy. You're not shy. I need your help now. You saw me at the All-Star game, I'm assuming, and it's big second half now. Kareem, as a baseball player, if you can give me one piece of advice now where I'm at in life, what would you tell me?
I would tell him to, if the team is not going, to the playoff, I'll try to limit a little more your innings for next year. I try to use the innings. If you get 15, 17 more starts through the year, make sure that you throw your 6 innings and six and down. Try to limit your pitches to 100 tops. Why? Because if you're not playing for nothing this year, but you might be playing for something next year, I want you to be healthy for next year and for the years to come with the contracts that we're looking for.
Kareem, I have one other question for you as Paul Skeens. So Paul Skeens tell you, if I could have a choice in life, I can either get a Cooperstown Hall of Fame ring or a World Series ring. The genie offered me the two. What do you think is the more important ring for me? What should I work towards?
Everybody wants to be in the Hall of Fame for sure. But if you ever had the opportunity to go to the World Series and have a ring within the World Series, I'll take the World Series ring no matter, any day.
Every day, any day, absolutely.
Yeah.
And for any of us that have ever seen what a World Series ring looks like, that's a lot of bling. And there's a reason why it's the most prestigious ring also in all of sports. Good luck to Mr. Paul Skenes as he works towards one day, and he will make a playoff one day, I guarantee you. And hopefully he does get that ring and both rings. But it's early in the career. You know what? I think we have to wait at least 10 years till we'll say whether he's heading towards Nolan Ryan or heading towards Todd Van Poppel or Mr. Steven Strasburg. We will see. This has been the Chosen Baseball Journey podcast. We'll be back next week. We're taking a look at a little bit about that MLB draft and seeing that process is working or not. Stay tuned.